In the second video of this lecture, I will discuss how a CIO can increase top management's trust in himself or herself. Let me give you a summary of the case to realize why we are addressing top managers' trust in the CIO. After a security incident where the company website was locked up due to a DDoS attack and the customer service application was not working since the name of the database file was changed, possibly by a hacker, the CIO found out the, that he lost the CEO's trust. How could the CIO tell that? The CEO started emailing a list of references to IT management articles he read over the weekend. It seems that the CEO decided to stop fully uh, having trust in the CIO and delegating all IT matters to the CIO. Uh, the CEO tried to play the role of a CIO helper. So, uh, how can the CIO regain the CEO's trust? Obviously, providing a comprehensive improvement plan, such as investing in firewall upgrades and improving intrusion detection systems, is useful. But what else can the CIO do? A study conducted by Karahana and Preston found empirical support for the factors that influence top management teams' trust in the CIO. They have found out that trust in the CIO is influenced by shared language and shared cognition, that shared language and shared cognition are themselves influenced by informal interaction and formal position. But what are these constructs? I will explain what they are in the next slide. However, you need to watch the videos on the interpretation of theories in lecture 2 if you do not follow the notations and numbers suggested in this theory. But what is trust? What does it mean to say that the CEO has trust in the CIO? Trust has three dimensions: benevolence, honesty, and ability. When the CEO has trust in the CIO, that means the CEO believes that the CIO acts in the best interest of the organization, not himself. That the CIO is honest in his or her dealings with the top management team. That the CIO is competent in what he or she does. Trust is influenced by shared language, the degree to which the CIO avoids using technical IT jargon and primarily uses business terminology in his communication with the CEO. Remember that last year, in the meeting about the network consolidation project, Jim Barton, the current CIO, told the former CIO Bill Davis to speak English because Davis used a lot of technical words. So that is detrimental to the trust in the CIO. The great thing about Jim Barton is that he was a business manager before becoming a CIO. So he understands what terminology his business peers are familiar with. However, in the textbook, we realize that even he has issues with explaining technical matters in a language that his business peers can understand. Mapping IT world to the business world can be quite difficult. Shared cognition influences trust as well. It is defined as the degree to which the CIO and the top management team have a shared understanding about the strategic role of IT in the organization. That the CEO and the CIO, for example, have the same priorities for investments in IT. But how can you measure shared cognition? So what you need to do is to go and ask the CIO what are the IT priorities. Assume that Jim Barton says first John chose security holes, second network consolidation, and third the backend system, the infrastructure replacement project. Then you ask the CEO the same question. If the CEO provides the same prioritization, shared cognition, which is also called social alignment, is high. Otherwise, if William, the CEO, provides a different priority or even worse, a different list of projects, that demonstrates a low shared cognition. The same study also found that the shared language and cognition are influenced by informal interaction. That is the frequency of informal meeting between the CIO and the CEO. Does Jim Barton meet Williams to discuss non-business matters daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly? So the important thing is that the topic of the meeting, the topic of the interaction should be about things other than business, their personal life, sports, things like that. Formal position is also influential. The structural position of the CIO within the organization allows his official access to the top management team. Bill Davis, the former CIO, did not have a direct access to the former CEO. I guess the number of reporting levels between the CIO and CEO was around two. The CIO was not even considered a formal member of the top management team. Things are quite different now for Jim Barton. He directly reports to William. He can even brief him on IT weekly. Therefore, from this perspective, things are way greater for Jim Barton. Note that the informal interaction and formal position do not develop trust directly. They improve trust only if they led to higher shared language and higher shared cognition about the strategic role of IT. So all these informal interactions, all this official access to the CEO uh, only works if Jim Barton can create that kind of shared language with William, that can create that understanding of the role of IT in the organization. So here, I would like you to take a look at this theory and try to suggest some recommendations to Jim Barton, how he can increase trust in himself. Here are my recommendations to Jim Barton. First, have frequent informal meetings, briefings, dinner outside, having Zoom meetings. Find different ways to have this informal interaction with Williams. Second, Jim Barton already has direct access to the CEO, and he is already part of the top management team. So uh, from the perspective of this construct, things are great. The third suggestion that I have is that he needs to learn to speak English. And that means that he needs to speak in the language of value and business process performance that I gave a lecture on in Module 2 and stated in Chapter 4. So keep that, he needs to keep that in mind, that he needs to figure out the discipline, the strategic discipline of the value discipline of the IVK, and figure out the related business process performance measures and talk to Williams in terms of those measures. Then, he can create a higher level of shared language. Finally, we know that Jim Barton already has a high business knowledge that helps him to create that kind of shared cognition on his side. But at the end of the At the other side, William also needs to have a higher level of IT knowledge to be able to allow Jim Barton to create that shared understanding of the strategic role of IT. So Jim Barton needs to increase the IT knowledge of the CEO Williams. That's quite important. Pause here for a minute and answer this quiz as well as this one. In the next video, I will go over what a CIO can do about the blockers.